Try that again. No, do that again. Hang on, just 1 second though, because see, when I'm talking here, it's still picking up. So I wonder if it's not actually using this mic. I'm tempted to switch it.
Yeah. Is there somebody from the Originals team in the room? Originals? Please come and see me.
We should pick that up. The only thing I'm thinking about is this. I think I need to switch it to here. Alan. So the thing that we're getting a bit funny is the mic that's on the laptop will obviously pick up what's coming out of the what's coming out of the room speakers. Alan, will you try to say something? The mic that's on the laptop will obviously pick up what's coming out of the speaker. What's coming out of the. But that you're hearing me. Yeah, it's hearing me. Can you? That's what I know. Do me a favor.
Hello.
Down. Turn it down.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Did you remember to check down, put some tunes back in, and just plug them back in?
Yeah. I still think that's picking up the speakers, not the mic directly.
Oh yes, yeah, no, yes, yeah.
I can't quite figure out how to talk.
Oh, this is a.
Actually, if that's the case, we don't even need to do that. If it's gonna pick up, look, it's still picking up. It's just.
All right. Sorry about the delay, everyone. As I mentioned earlier, the schedule is really, really tight. So we're just trying to get back on the schedule. I'm sorry, we're a little bit later than we expected. But please, should be celebrating. Congratulations, you made it through. It's been almost 48 hours now of solid work. Great work. So just bear with us. We'll have some music on and we'll get on the way shortly.
I think we're ready. What are the judges? Yeah, that's what I was they were ready. Yeah. So 3-minute pictures. 3 minutes.
Our air tosses will look this today.
Just kidding. No good saying now, though.
Champagne.
Also,
I wanted to see if it would work with me doing it instead.
Actually, yes. How exciting. Look at this. Piece of wood. This has been amazing. I'm sure everyone is a little bit tired and probably a little bit stressed. We'll see, but get excited because after 2.5 days of hard work, this is where you get to show off what you've come up with in front of the friendliest room you'll ever present in front of. Raise your hand if you're presenting. Okay, keep your hand up if you're worried about presenting. Everyone is worried. I am terrified standing up here. Yeah, I probably should be. But I'm just going to move on to the important bit. Firstly, I just want to welcome our amazing, I don't want to call them judges, but judges. Colette, ex-Fishburner, wonderful person, now a Blue Chili. Just an honour to have you yesterday and also today. Thank you very much for giving us more time. Thank you. But Exhibit A, a wonderful person that can come through Fishburners and do amazing things. Amazing Adam from the Iconic. Adam, good. Raise your hand if you bought from the Iconic.
raise your hand. Keep your hand up if you're wearing something from the Iconic.
What did you say before, Sarah?
That's the only thing keeping me quiet.
I'm thinking keeping it close. Speaking of which, please welcome Sally Ann Williams from Google. Also a board member of Fishburners outside of the Google capacity that was added to the board of Fishburners exclusively because of how much she's done for STEM education and female entrepreneurship. She's a wonderful person and wonderful to have you here tonight. So, yes, would. Last but not least, Jen George. Jen, raise your hand if you joined like-minded bitches and wine over the weekend. I cried, I wasn't.
You're in the men's group, though.
I am. Jen, thank you so much for all your work over the weekend. It's been amazing. Any excuse to hang out with you. So let's get started. I'm going to throw to Alan, who's going to introduce the first person. The main thing to remember is this is not Dragon's Den. This is about feedback and support. And if you're listening to someone pitch and they ask for something, just take a little mental note and grab them and try and help. And I think it's going to be amazing to see what comes from this. But thanks very much, everyone. And please make welcome Alan.
Good afternoon again. I think you're sick of seeing me this weekend. Who would rather see Jen this weekend rather than me? Oh, come on. I would. She's so much more fun than I am. You're available for parties?
Yes, she is, because she's dealing champagne.
Fantastic. So we just.
What's that important question? Everyone loves champagne.
Fantastic. So the first thing we're going to bring up is Board Watch. So this is one of the larger teams. So I'm wondering if we're going to fit everybody on the stage. Hopefully we will. So everyone, please give a huge welcome to Board Watch.
Can you make that maximize the full screen?
There we go.
Here, Alan, I'll give you a hand. Alan, you hand. Just download it.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. That's okay. We can see. Do you want to start and we'll keep it going? Yep.
Hey everybody, so start off with a question for you. How come after over 100 years of talking about it, gender equality is still an issue?
Let's start again.
Here we go.
Even though the case has been made, companies are slow to act. As you'll be aware, only 20% of women are currently represented on senior leadership teams and in politics. So, what's missing? The real problem we're trying to solve this weekend is what can individuals do about it that are frustrated about it? And our solution is consumer power. Really simple but hopefully disruptive concept. Let's support companies that support gender equality and stop buying from those that don't. So the app that we've been working on to let people do this easily is that they can select the industry, before they go to buy something, they can select the industry. So for example, telco, and then they can choose to buy from Optus with 33% women on its board as opposed to TPG or IONET with 0. But most importantly, the secret sauce that makes this difference is that that wouldn't do any good unless companies knew about it. They need the consumer's insight. So that's step 3. On the spot, you can indicate what you decided to buy or not buy, the value of it, the item, which will, and then you can tweet it. Or if you're not a tweeter, you can then log the data. Our revenue model is that we then aggregate that data and we provide that company to the reports, which they can subscribe for. We will also, to once again address root causes, be working with executive search firms to provide them on page 2 with a list of possible C-level and board level candidates that they can call. If those candidates are successful, we can take to the commission. So we started this weekend with an idea, a little envision prototype, a bit of a prototype website on the Wix, and the start of a pitch. As you can see, this weekend, amazing progress. I've heard of a Chrome extension, I had no idea how you do it. By like 11 o'clock on, day 2, it's there. As well as technical spec with how we need to tailor it as we load up more data. We've now sent a survey out to no less than 17,000 people on, of course, that is BBW, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. The legal review of our terms and conditions. I won't go through all of these things, but how exciting is a launch party at Stone Chalk already been planned? So how do we all achieve all of this? What an amazing team. As you can see, and at this point I'd like to bring them all up on stage because this is all them. If you guys can come on up. We've got no less than, for those people that think that women are just about business, we have no less than a PhD in computer science, a master's in computer science, a UX lecturer. We've got financial analysts, lawyers, I might get you to gather on about the screen, and program managers, you can see. So we also have another announcement. We're committed to launch in 5 weeks' time. And most exciting of all, many of these members have actually, they want to keep going with this project, including Adrienne, who's had to leave, but she's already said, I'll be there, Bridget, for the next 6 weeks, coming to Fishburners 2 days a week, working on your social management. Amazing. So in closing, our ask is for those who support this and have deep pockets, estimated 300K for a 12-month runway for us. Once again, technical support and connections and advice, very much welcome. But most of all, we really would like to thank Fishburners for just what a wonderful weekend that was bringing us all together. And just one thing, amazing, just like in terms of self-organising team, in day one we said these are all the kind of stuff we should do, and it was just like everybody was like, you know, divided and conquered. It was wonderful.
Some questions? Any questions? Questions? Stay up.
Guys, stay up.
Stay up. Stay up. Stay up.
I'll go first. As the token guy on the judging panel, it makes sense I'm talking to a gender diversity idea. But thank you very much for the presentation. I think, first of all, I think it's a really great idea. The thing I like about it initially is how clear the purpose is. You've really defined what you want to change, what change you want to see. You want better group diversity at a board level, and this is a very clear idea of how to do it. So I think that's often about 80% of the problem when it comes to a startup. You have a purpose clearly defined, and you guys have that. The next thought that came to my mind that you answered on the second or third slide was, I don't think this is an app, I think this is an extension, as in a Google extension or a plugin. And the reason I say that is the majority of apps are downloaded and then never used again. I think after 30 days, 85 to 90% of apps are discarded. And if there isn't a reason to regularly open it up, then you can bet your bottom dollar that it's just junk on someone's phone that's going to go within 6 months. However, an extension makes a lot of sense because you're going, as a consumer, you're going to those retailer sites, you're buying things, and there's an opportunity right then and there for your plugin to say, hey, here's how the diversity looks like at the board level when you're making your purchasing decision. I've seen another organization called Follow do this really well. Does anyone know? FOLO stands for love. So what they do is they take an affiliate marketing payment and give it to a charity, and they service that as a plugin. So when you buy from Iconic, you see that the 4.5% affiliate marketing fee is now going to go to charity of your choice, and that impacts your purchasing decision. So I think the extension is really like an area to focus on for sure. The last comment I'd make is the change you're trying to impact is greater diversity on a board level. How could you measure that impact? You don't want to see organizations just paying lip service to gender diversity, having female representation because they feel like they're obliged to. You want to see the benefits coming from that diversity of thought on a broad level. So how could you think about measuring that impact or measuring the benefit and then servicing that as part of the experience to really impact the consumer's choice? But overall, well done. Thanks for the presentation.
Congratulations. This is not the first time I think that we've had a conversation about this, so it's really great to see it come to light. I'm going to just touch on a couple of different things. I think it's really phenomenal where you're going with this. I think if you haven't already, we need to make some connections with you, and I'm very happy to do that with some other organisations that play in this space and have really great executive leaders. So the Women in Leadership Group in Australia, Carol Schwartz, hit me up by email, we can make some introductions. I think also Women in Focus and Scale Angel Investors and others will be really interested in this, and Scale might be a particular one to approach that you're looking for. I think the other thing I would want to say is encouraging to think about as you go through this, looking at certifications for companies and things like that, and looking at who is already doing great work in that space around best place to work, equal opportunity, all of that sort of thing, looking at is there a partnership that you can add and a value add for them in that layer, because I think that's going to be one of the critical things to kind of really sort of help push the needle with companies adopting it. But I really love what you're doing, and I'm excited to see it.
Really sort of quickly on that, I would really welcome those connections. We do have a meeting with Carol Schwartz being lined up by Ms. Broderick, who I spoke to last week about this. And in terms of the, so thank you for that, it's great. Wonderful.
we finally made it. Guys, just want to say amazing work. We started all coming together and the enthusiasm was non-stop over the weekend and execution was clearly done, which is amazing. I think what's really exciting is that you are progressing as fast as Hackathon, which is, for us, that is success. No matter where this business goes, how it plays along, what's exciting for us is you've got a network now. No matter where you go, where you share this business, everyone here is going to help you out. So don't be afraid to ask. And from next steps and trying to get that funding, we're happy to help with that. And of course, how you're going to present that, I think next step is to look at what does actually 100K get. What is that actually going to do? Is 100K going to marketing? Is 100K going to salaries for staff? All those sorts of things need to be nutted out before you go and talk to investors. And I really think that's probably the next step because you should definitely do this. So congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations. I think you guys have come a long way just even over the weekend. It's been amazing to see what can actually happen in a space like this over such a short amount of time. Just to the point that we did talk about this a little bit over the weekend as well, but how do you get these ideas seeded? How do you get people to know about you for the first time? The Chrome extension obviously is great if you know to install it. So have you looked at potentially doing something with comparison sites where people are actually at that point potentially switching between different providers? So have you actually
At that. Alright, I'll just go fast, sorry. Salaries? Yeah, so have you actually looked at that? That was my one question. And then the other statement is similar to everybody, we'd really love to be able to help you on the next journey to sell back for you. And we have a Kickstarter program which does provide for roughly the stage that you're at, which is to get you to that next stage. And I want to tell you
Just want to point out the comparison website, so it's great to see that really good events and it's on the next sections to look at those and see how we can engage with
Just to give you an idea just on that question, so the one I mentioned before, Follow, the way they did it was that the network, and added on to charitable extension as well. So you can also look at existing networks that are already partnering with all those consumer retail websites, so you don't have to build your own network. It'll be much faster way.
That's one idea is Lisa with that one, one big switch. They said that she would do that as well, so we know and on the follow point.
Yeah, I can have a link to that.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Hey, can you check if that's on? Can you check that mic's on?
All right, sorry about that, everyone. It's a little microphone issue. All right, so next up we have the Listen. Okay, so next up we have the wonderful girls from Snip-On. Give me a huge hand.
Hi, I'm Vicky, and I'm from Team Snip-On. And we are building a searchable visual directory of real women with grey hair. So, what is the problem we are trying to solve? Well, let's face it, having your hair done is a traumatic experience, if it's bad. And this means that it's too big a risk to go to just any new hairdresser. However, there's no trusted source for finding a good one. So we believe the solution is a user-based platform for hairdresser reviews. Users will upload photos of good hair, tagging their hairdresser, be they a freelancer or in salon. Anyone can search for the kind of hair they want by location and connect with a hairdresser they actually like. This takes away the pain of finding a hairdresser in a fun and social way. We're exploring the business model, but it'll likely be premium or subscriptions. We think this is a great opportunity because we know the hairdressing industry in Australia last year was $3.1 billion. And we also know that women get a hair service every 2 to 3 months and spend anywhere between $100 to $300 a pop. Based on our customer interviews, 50% of women are looking for a new hairdresser, but don't want to take the risk. Our target market are young women who use the internet to find premium services and aren't loyal to any particular hairdresser. We validated the customer pain points by speaking to customers. We spoke to women face to face and through a Facebook poll, and over 50% said that they want to try a new hairdresser, but again, they're too scared. In terms of marketing, we propose a real grassroots approach by speaking with hair salons about the platform and getting them to encourage their happy clients to upload their fabulous hair shots. This will become a great marketing tool for the salons and the hairdressers. Currently, we're seeking to validate the market fit with our customers, that is the hairdressers and the hair salons. We're also seeking some mentoring support, in particular some technical expertise and assistance with a business plan. Finding a hairdresser used to be scary and it used to be stressful, but now it's fun and social. Introducing our team. We've got Shuri, our innovator and entrepreneur, Thea, our psychologist and UX design experts, Claudia, our legal gun and hustler, and myself, Vicky, aspiring entrepreneur. Thanks.
Well done. Looks like you guys have fun this weekend too, which is a terrific side outcome of getting started on the business. So I have a question around you mentioned a few things that I wanted just to hear you explain a little bit more around. The searchability of the images was one of them. And then when you talk about that your target market is women who aren't specifically loyal to any particular hairdresser, do you know what percentage of women that is? Like, has anything come up in your interviews or some of the research that you've done to show what percentage of the overall market would be exactly those women?
From our research, we found about 50% of women aren't particularly committed to a hairdresser and would go somewhere else if they had that certainty. I guess that it would be a quality service. Originally, our original assumptions were that customers were after convenience and price, but in fact that was not the case. We'll do crazy things to get a good haircut. They'll drive to for hours and spend hundreds of dollars. But maybe I can pass over to one of the other girls about some of the research.
So we interviewed 17 women, and of those, 75% were actually not loyal to their hairdresser, were open, and 70% said that they were really scared of what might happen if they try someone new. So even though they wanted to try someone new, the potential consequences were too devastating. Okay. And then I guess the last one would be just a tip that if that's something that you think you've actually gained this specific insight that other people have cotton onto in the industry is trying to figure out if there are any particular behaviors that happen at that point in time. Like, do they start searching for different hair salons? Do they, you know, ask their friends, like, what is it that they do that could give you a signal that that might be one of their customers within a platform? You can try and pick them up in their journey.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. It's a really fun idea, and it's one that plays on a very clear human side, where you get terrified about changing a hairdresser. That's true for guys as well as for girls, because you just cannot reverse a bad haircut. And I think the way that you guys have approached it is in the right way. You're not trying to come at it from a convenience or a commerce perspective. You're coming at it from a fun content and, you know, comparison perspective, and people get excited about their haircut. So, you know, that makes a lot of sense. The three, I guess, pieces of feedback I'd give to you to think about. The first one is on that point. I wouldn't be surprised if once you got this product up and running, if more people use, I guess, more time was spent on it just to play around and compare hairstyles than to actually use it to find a hairdresser. So in how you design it, then you probably want to take inspiration from Pinterest, from Instagram, to really allow people to explore the content. That could become the main game, in fact. The second one is around social integration. I think a lot of overcoming that risk of which hairdresser should I go to comes from recommendations by people who you know really well. So I think you want to have a really neat social integration so you can see exactly who in your circles have recommended different hairdressers based on their hairstyles. That'll be very powerful. And the last one is around monetization. Have you thought about, I mean, you mentioned premium, have you thought about how you monetize them?
Well, I mean, we've only really thought about the revenue model, which I guess once you've got a really live community that hair salons and hairdressers feel is a good marketing tool. We know that a lot of hair salons and independent freelancers struggle with marketing, and the reason why they fail is because they can't quite tackle that problem on their own. So we're hoping they'll be willing to fund that through monthly subscription, annual subscription model, or have premium listings, so they have like a profile and they can have a free profile and then upgrade some bells and whistles later on.
So my tip on this point would be, I think there's an existing revenue model in play, which is people are buying haircuts, and I would think more about how do you take a cut of that transaction rather than try and invent or add a new business model onto the side. It's a core business that's existed for like hundreds of centuries, so you just need a little bit of that on.
So I'm not going to repeat anything that's been said because I think you're getting some great advice here from both Adam and Claire. One thing that I was thinking of though is that I think where you want to start is probably not just with your average girl next door's haircut. There's an incredible movement of bloggers and influencers in the fashion industry in Australia, and not just your high profile bloggers, but people that have just have ridiculous Instagram followings and things like that. So starting with them, if you really want to build this out, I think it's a great way of doing it. And the other thing I was going to suggest that you look at is when I think about, and I moved a year ago, so full confession, I have not broken up with my hairdresser, and I drive now to go see her, and I will not break up with her. She is under threat. She's not allowed to move, leave me, or anything else because I take that seriously. But thinking about the sort of times where I do make a move and things like that, the other times where I've done something similar is around open agent. So if you think about real estate agents and you're buying or selling something, so if you have a look at their platform and their model, it's essentially that, trying to find somebody to help you do something meaningful. And it's a completely different space, but I think what they're doing is really interesting. So you might want to see kind of how that recommendation piece works and just see if you can kind of have a look and get some ideas from there.
Completely agree with all the sentiment on the table, but I guess my feedback would be it's really exciting to see you girls from that Friday night, not even day one, Friday night, champagne, to where you are now pitching. The concepts really come together, and it's great to see that you've really thought through who's doing what, how you can contribute to the team. You've all got your specialties, and I think that that's going to make the team move faster. I really think that you guys should continue doing this post this event. You should also think about Jimmy's model. They book, the restaurant booking system. Maybe there's a way that every single salon needs a booking system, right? So if you can give them that for free and just take a look at the transaction. Health engine. So don't be afraid to look outside the beauty industry to find inspiration for what's going to work for you.
Great work. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up we've got the Digi. It's a huge hand. Oh, big hand.
I do need it.
We ready, ladies? So when Gareth passed away, he left behind a community of about 500 Facebook users shocked and in grief about his passing. And his brother, as executor, was allowed to switch that status to memorial, and the Friends of Gareth page has continued to be a place where we can gather together and post memories and grieve as a community, post photos, and laugh. Today I got notice that the Friends of Gareth community is no longer accepting updates. Facebook got to decide when I stopped grieving, and that's not okay. As a solicitor, I deal with tough situations every day. My clients want to face that tough situation, if they want to face it, once. They want to deal with it, and they want to forget about it. Continuing to face that situation is my job. But despite industry standards telling us that we need to start talking to our clients about digital profiles and virtual reality and virtual assets, our initial survey found that pretty much we rely on our clients to give us the information. And that 50% of us don't even talk to our clients about it, and none of us trust that if that information changes, our clients are going to update us. Because really, when you forget your LinkedIn password and you get a new one, how many of you think, I should probably call my solicitor and update my will, right? So what is it offers a value add for our customers, the business providers, the life insurance salesmen, the solicitors, the funeral planners, a way to have a one-stop shop for their users, where they can update or input their information about their social media and digital profile and decide, when I pass this profile, instantly deleted, there's just some things my kids don't ever need to know. This profile switched to memorial, or this profile with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of music and media is going to stay live for my beneficiary to continue to access. It's a one-time service. It's offered through the service provider. The revenue source is a subscription that our service provider pays us for the service, and the portal updates the information instantly when it changes. We've done the initial surveys. We've found that there's a need. There's nothing out there on the market. And pretty much now what we need is about $50,000 in consulting fees to get this from the point of concept of the original process map that we have to a beta prototype through consulting with developers. And that's it. We are Digi. I am Marcia, a solicitor policy analyst, and my amazing cohorts are Karen, our product specialist, and Kat, our marketing director. And within the next 2 weeks, we will be incorporated. We've already discussed it, our shareholder agreement. Questions?
Oh, sorry.
Girls, it was amazing. Well done. It's really exciting to see how your idea and concept has evolved over the last 2 days. I think you presented very coherently, very professionally. I think you were very clear. It's great. And you can tell you've done this before and you haven't asked you don't know how much it's going to cost. So you've asked for, let us find out how much this is going to cost and these are the next steps. So I'm very confident in those steps that you've taken and to the point that I go, okay, that makes sense, great. Confident in the name and how you address it. So really well done. Congratulations. So I really, I see the need for this and I really like it. I think the biggest challenge is working with your colleagues in the legal industry to make this sort of standard practice to notify people to either come to your service or not. But that's nothing's insurmountable in that space. I did want to give you, I was looking at my phone not because I was trying to be rude, but I was actually trying to, I feel like there was many years ago there was another startup in this space. Are they still going, Murray?
Yeah, they outgrew the space and moved out.
So I think there is an existing provider in Australia that you might want to have a look at and really just see where they're going, just to have an understanding of that. I couldn't remember their name, was the problem.
We
We'll
know
track
that
it down.
there's a digital undertaker, and what they do is they'll go in and they'll clear you out so you're not a ghost in the machine. But what we've discovered is that the space where there's a provider, it's still a push. So it still requires the end user to have to update the information. And what we're proposing is a pool. It's a portal with permissions that updates automatically in the back end.
I have a feeling that that was where they were coming to, so it might be just worth investigating. Doesn't really matter.
I mean, it would be great.
It would, and the reality is, you know, first to market doesn't make you best to market in any way, shape, or form, as I well know. So I encourage you with to keep going with this and think about how you're going to drive adoption, because I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. I think especially with young people who are the most to benefit from this, thinking about wills and things like that is not something that we tend to even think about, let alone our digital footprint. So there's a whole awareness strategy that needs to happen in the lives of young people today to get them thinking about that at the point of where they're subscribing to new things as well.
Fascinating idea. I think that I've read some literature that says that ultimately there's only two emotions in the world. One is hope and one is fear. And I feel like if you put a business on the genesis of either hope or fear, has got a good shot of doing well. This one's on fear for me. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it's also hope, because I really don't want my last words to be, damn, I should have deleted my Tinder account. So, my hope is that there's a little bit of control about that before I'm at that point.
So, absolutely. So I think, I think the interesting thing about your value proposition is that I see two parts to your value prop. You mentioned one that's now just control. You want to be able to have control as your digital identity post-humans. The other one for me is convenience. You need a way to be able to manage it so that you don't have to have a paper stored in a filing cabinet with instructions given to your son-in-law and hope that he remembers you. My question for you, and it's a bit of a loaded question because I've got a tip after it, is have you thought about exit strategy and where you might take this if it's successful in, say, 5-10 years' time?
We've thought about exit strategy, about what our protocols will be in the end user agreement if we fail, so that people have a trust that there's at least an exit strategy if we liquidate. And primarily it's through, we're doing this as a business to business. So it's through the trust relationship with your life insurance or your solicitor, and people at that point are already thinking about their death and planning for it. But in terms of exit strategy, if we're really successful, yeah, I look at the LexisNexis, and I would love to see this purchased out as an add-on that LexisNexis offers is its precedent protocols to its large firms that handle those in the States, like your Slater Gordons and that sort of thing.
So another way you could think about this is in a analogous industry that does something similar from a value prop perspective of control and convenience. And the one that springs to my mind is password managers. So if you think about LastPass or OnePass, they're doing the same thing, manage the passwords, allow you to have control, make it convenient. So you can think about either a partnership in terms of scaling to market, or you could think about a potential exit strategy where they buy you to offer this service as an add-on and become an even stronger value proposition for their customer base.
That's really good feedback, because we thought about them in terms of looking at that from the programming end, of leveraging off of those programs to do this service. I hadn't even thought about them as a business partner, so thank you.
Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah. The challenge of going last is that Adam stole my question. That was last pass. I was just going to bring up last pass. The other thing, you know, when you, on your phone, you can think about it from either from a software point of view, for example, like a LastPass, like a partnership or an add-on, versus a device point of view, perhaps, because if you think about where you're actually interacting with a lot of these services and how you continuously update what you're interacting with and where you have passwords, most of those things now are apps, right? In terms of networks. So technically, I don't know how this would or wouldn't work, but it might be worth exploring, looking at the emergency. You know, right now, medical people can actually access your phone just from an emergency point of view to get, you know, your, what's the first point of contact when you get into it? Next of kin, something like that. There might be something worth exploring just from a device point of view, just a wild card to think about.
Well, what we've got planned right now is using an API strategy. So a lot we're thinking about a digital platform right now, so a website where you record there what you want done to your Facebook account, and then you log in with that using the API, and that will give us the trusted status. So with that sort of authorization, we won't have to worry about them updating the password because we'll already be able to get into their account by the back end.
Really interesting. Blockchain might be another one to look at then. It's not actually storing the information, but storing the access through the blockchain. Really interesting. My parents just sent me their wills 3 weeks ago, and they were literally like this little bit about digital. I was like, I would have no idea what you wanted to do with your Facebook. So please update that. So I think it's great, and I think there's definitely a need more and more as we interact online and digitally. Well done.
Okay, so next up we have Wingman Fitness. Give it a huge round of applause.
Hi, I'm Tori and I'm a runner, and I've been trying to build up my running, like a strong running base for the past 18 months, but I just can't find a running buddy to keep me motivated. We've got Barb over there that also wants to run, and she lives in the same neighborhood as me, but we're not connected. Wouldn't it be great if there was some kind of online tool that could connect us and we could go running at the most suitable time? You see, the problem is not all runners have a 9-to-5 job. We can't all make the 6 p.m. run clubs that are scheduled on throughout the week. So what we're proposing is to have an online tool that helps schedule and connect runners. What the biggest need that we found, talking to about 18 different potential customers, was the biggest problems are running isn't always interesting. There's a huge problem trying to fit it into their busy schedules, and then obviously trying to run with someone else, so just finding those people. So what is the opportunity here? Is it a viable option? Well, if we just take Zeta Surf, for instance, there are over 80,000 participants annually. And if you just roughly estimate they're spending $300 on shoes and entry fees to these running races, that's like a minimum $24 million market. So I think there's so many extra people out there that we could potentially motivate and get on board. So where have we currently got to? We've created an Insta page to help gauge any interest, see if this is an actual problem. So what we went out and just posted these on social media just to see if people are interested. Would you be interested in creating a profile and making it custom to what your needs are? So how is this different from all the existing apps out there? Well, it means you can actually go out and request to run at a specific time and actually find people in the vicinity near you at the right time. So these are just a few screens. You can also choose people that have a similar fitness level to you and also within a similar area. So what we're missing at the moment is obviously a development team to flesh this out. We've started to kind of break it into a user story, and these were our prototypes. And we've got currently a team of marketers, entrepreneurs, and an accountant and project manager. So we're looking for any engineers and any technical people to help build this idea out.
I always love when you get somebody who's passionate about something and then try and find the problem, and usually that's where great ideas get started from. It's just from actually experiencing a problem that you want to fix. Have you come across anybody who's doing something remotely? And I ask this also as a bit of a loaded question because I'm trying to figure out where are your existing communities, what are they offering, and what's missing from what's already available as a substitute.
No, absolutely. So meetups and I guess active wear brands like Lululemon and Nike are great sources for run clubs. What the challenge is usually the time slot. So and obviously locations. So generally based in the city or larger metropolitan areas. So actually being able, particularly the mothers that maybe get up at 4 or 5 a.m., having that, I guess, user base, being able to reach out at a really odd time or inconvenient time for most people.
So are you saying that it would be live? So
Just go on and actually look at right now. I want to go for a run. Who else wants to go for a run right now? Or is it
Correct. So it would have a calendar that would allow you to see if there are any active runners that have said these are my preferred times to run.
And then I guess my 2 steps of feedback for what would be really critical in terms of actually making sure that you nail that before you go further with the more of the design, is to figure out
how likely it would be that people would actually update their calendars. So that would be one of the things that if you can figure out how to get them to do that, then the information that you're working with will be more accurate. And also to start doing just a little bit of like not back of the napkin number crunching in terms of what density of people you need to have to make sure that when I go, I want something right now, that there's enough other people who want the same thing, that I have a high success rate so that my completion's really good. So those, I think, are two really important points to look at for your next step.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the presentation, Tori. I actually had 2 questions. One, Colette asked, so I guess, I don't know, we're cheating over here or something. But I just wanted to, off the back of your question, then just wanted to clarify the product. So is it an on-demand product? Is it I want to go for a run right now, who else is running? Or is it, I'm trying to find a partner and I'm going to partner with them over a couple of months?
So twofold, it could be instantaneous or scheduled. The idea would preferably be to schedule so you have that commitment. So anyone can go for a run if they feel like it in an hour. It's the committing to someone.
So my other question was around safety. And have you thought about the safety concerns of going running at dusk with a stranger?
So this is where the profiles would come in handy in their peer rating system. So essentially, if there's a no-show, you would rate them, and part of how we would monetize it would be you get credit points based on the durations of the runs and how many scheduled runs you actually turned up to.
So I guess my tip would be to think about how this could work through social circles. In my experience, a lot of the time that you end up running with a partner, it's because you realise on the off chance that they're also a runner, they run around the same time, you're like, hey, let's go running together. And that can be a little bit spontaneous. And so how can you recreate that spontaneity in a more predictable fashion between people who are loosely affiliated so they feel comfortable about going out? Because I think that safety concern, even with a rating system, would be quite a large hurdle for someone to sign up and use the product.
Okay.
Thanks for your presentation.
So I've covered a couple of things because I had safety down on my list as well. One thing I would just suggest to you, if you're really going to pursue this idea and keep going forward with it, is focus on the scheduling versus the on-demand, because you're going to spend a lot of time and money to build an on-demand system, whereas I think you can actually get a good hack together amongst a group of people that you know who are willing to help validate this idea and kind of test the scheduling through pretty simply through Google Calendar. If you set up a Google Apps account and assign people account names from that, you can actually set up to schedule a meeting with me in Calendar, or you could just change that to schedule a with me, and I could say I'm available between 6 and 9 in the inner west on Mondays and Wednesdays, and people could schedule a half-hour run or something in those sorts of things. So I think you can validate that very, very cheaply without having to pay tech. And I would. Maddie's really excited. She wants to sign up and go for a run with us right now. But I would just suggest really validating the idea before you go out and spend on the expense of building an in-demand system, just to make sure you really nailed it. And the other thing I was going to say is, when I used to move reasonably regularly, my run used to help me find other local runners. So you might want to, I don't know if you've done my run or looked at something like that, but you might want to look at that and see if that's a network that you can validate that idea with. But do it cheap, get the MVP done cheap before you spend any money on it. But in theory, if you can nut out the safety and the social circles and all of that, I love the idea.
Thank you.
Yay,
made it to the end of the weekend. Great pitch, I think you presented well. I agree with Sally and the other sentiment from the other judges that safety and obviously make sure you get that social aspect. But again, Tinder, you don't know who you're meeting for dinner, same thing, right? You're not going to rate them after that.
It was I got a task. Yeah. You actually mentioned there how we decided to flesh out a profile and a rating system.
Yeah, of course. And you know, there are things that you've got to figure out as you go, right? So you can think about ways that you can do an easy thing just to get people manually using it. My biggest piece of advice always comes back to if you can get 10 people loving a really different shit product, but it still gets the same sentiment across, then you'll know what to invest your money into. So whether it's a Google Calendar that you just got a group of friends that you know, even some of the like-minded pictures, I bet you can get 20 people using that tomorrow. So go hard, get people running, get fit yourself when you're doing it. But I'm sure you'll learn some things along the way, right? And yeah, so please continue because I'll be running.
Nice.
Fantastic. I'm going to look at this now. So next up we have the team, the Originals. Woohoo! Here's applause. So the Originals actually have a product called Memory Vault. So
Come on up, guys. Don't be shy. So our product is called the Memory Vault, and it's a way of keeping your family memory safe forever. So the problem we're trying to address is before there were digital cameras, you could maybe take 25 photos throughout the whole year, so it's really easy to curate them, put them in an album that you look back on later on in life. But now with all the digital ways of taking pictures, you have thousands of photos. So trying to find that one special memory in those thousands of photos is really difficult to then share with family and friends. So your memories are sort of getting lost. So a solution we're proposing is a centralized platform for users to upload and organize photos in a secure fashion for sharing and storage. We collect the photos that are spread out for all platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, your mobile phone. We put them in one centralized location. We have algorithms that make it easy to organize and curate them in a way so that you can find the memories that you want. And it's easy to share and celebrate these special moments with family and friends. Target market is basically sentimental, family-oriented photo lovers like me. So mother of two, I take way too many photos of my children. When I try to find a photo that I want to show to my kids, let's say their second birthday party, it takes me 2 months. In the end, they never get to see it. And my value proposition is basically, Memory Vault is important because we want to make it easy and quickly to store it and organize your family legacy to then cherish and share with your current family members and your future generations. Because right now we find that those memories are getting lost. Revenue model, we'll start with a free trial, so 30 days free trial, and that's how we drive customer acquisition, and that moves to a subscription model on a monthly basis. And we'll have premium add-ons such as printable photo albums, printable photos, t-shirts. We've gotten good traction, so we did about 30 customer interviews, and most people seem to have this issue of taking too many photos, no time to organize, and they end up not looking at the photos they took like 5 years ago. That one special moment, it's really hard to find those photos. And we started a landing page, and we set it up to send that some friends put on Facebook yesterday, and this morning we had 10 signups, so good job. Our next step is to get a test site set up, so sort of just a mock-up, see what kind of algorithms we can get started, get some people to come in, put too many photos, and get them to test it out. And so for that, we'll need some web designers, developers, some funding just to get things started. Thank you. Well done, girls. I love that you took the feedback from the first pitching session and then made more nation from, it's for everybody to write things like how the market, this is what we're doing now down, this makes the messaging clearer, and also what features that will change to those people because it's really neat. Some of the things I liked was also the free trial, because once you go to the end of uploading those photos in the free trial, there's no way you're going to know how to delete everything. So it makes it a lot more accessible to then getting credit cards, hopefully. But the feedback would also be think about ways that you can make it easier for people. So if it's an API from all my Facebook photos, I get tagged them or I upload on there or Instagram or all these other places that you're not constantly having to remember to come back because I think all the stats that have been said about apps and sites and memberships, people don't generally come back to it. So if you want to keep that in the month coming in, you can make it seamless so that hopefully they forget about it, but they get the benefits from it as well. So well done.
Congratulations. This is a big problem and an increasing problem, the fact that everybody is walking around with a great camera in their pocket, even though it's still called a phone. I don't know how many people actually make phone calls on them. A couple of things I would really encourage you to think about the business model. Storage is expensive. Unlimited storage of photos, I noticed you didn't sort of mention anything about that, is very expensive. And I know this because we've built the storage backend for photos in Sydney, and it's very expensive. The machine learning algorithms too, if you're really looking for smart, intelligent search on photos, you're going to need somebody with a very strong machine learning background, not just a web developer. That is one of the hardest parts of photo search to get right, and it's really, really hard to teach, to get your algorithms right and to teach it to learn your photos and your family members. And the other thing that I would say is that I would actually focus on mobile first. It is the strategy for photos. 90% or more, I think, of every photo that is taken these days is taken on a phone versus the camera. And then most cameras that are coming out today automatically have an upload facility through your phone. So whatever you can do to be harnessing the photos from the operating system of the phone versus a standalone app is going to save that. It's also one of the things that can be a selling point for what you're doing. And I don't want to talk on it too much, but have a look at some of what we've done with Google Photos and look for the differentiators there. Might be a good idea to have to think about that.
Congratulations. I agree that it's a very real problem. It was actually only on Friday that I was trying to figure out what to do with all of my photos because my SLR's full and my iCloud's all over the place. I got photos of Facebook, and it's like, I know you like Google Photos. You can't plug in your iCloud to Google Photos, and that's where most of mine come. But anyway. And I think there's been some really good themes raised. I just want to sort of ask you a couple of questions around. So if we just focus on the value proposition, and if I were to define the process in 3 stages, one being collection of photos from all those different sources, the second being editing and organizing the photos, and the third being sharing and doing stuff with them. Which stage would you say your value prop is focused on?
I'd say it's organizing, because there are a lot of products, and like Sally mentioned, that do put them into one sort of location, and then people will still say, I have too many photos on iCloud, or too many photos on Google Photos, that just aren't organized. So I'd say that really would be what we'd concentrate on.
And I think my personal view is that would be the right one to focus on. I think it's a huge time problem. We're taking so many photos, and like when do we have the time to go through and pick the right ones and delete the ones we don't like? So using things like machine learning around helping you to organize and edit your photos, I think is a huge value prop. Have you thought about who some of your competitors are going to be in that space?
Yeah, so we did look at Google Photos, and we looked at photos like, thanks, Jen. And so there is one of our members uses Google Photos, and she likes it, but she says also to organize it using Google Photos, there's just sometimes you can't find the footage she's looking for, and it's ease of access a lot of the times too. So a lot of people we spoke to, for whatever reason, there's tons of products out there, they don't find it easy enough to use. And maybe it's just they don't have time to sit down and figure it out. And so we also wanted to concentrate on membership. It's really easy. You don't have to spend a whole day figuring out how to one.
So then if the usability and the intelligence of that editing stage is your main value prop from a resource and validation and team perspective, that's where you really want to be focusing and building capabilities and validation around. I think that's probably the most important thing as the next step. That looks awesome.
Thank you. So just to Sally's point, you know, the overwhelming volume of photos that we take is oftentimes you get stuck in even taking any further action with them. Like you just don't want to do anything with them because you know you have to come in an hour to go through one thing. So if there is a way to actually figure out similar photos, because oftentimes you take 20 photos of the same thing, but you're only really one-to-one. So figuring out perhaps what that one photo is, and if that, again, coming back to that point around having an algorithm or a machine learning backend that will help you figure out what is the best photo of the 20 that you took, and having that be the photo that you can upload and save. That might make things simpler from a user perspective. On the flip side of rather than saying it could be the organization or the algorithm aspect. I use an app called Tiny Beans because I have a 1-year-old. And what it does is it prompts me every day for the one photo of the day, right? So it actually, at that time, makes you just look at the 20 that I took in the day or the 10 that I took in the day and pick the 1 or 2 that I want to upload. So that could be a different way of solving that same problem where you have so many photos that you don't actually have any way to go back and pick out the top highlight for the day. So it's just a completely different way. If you wanted to quickly test this, if there's then app services like Zapier, which have you guys heard of Zapier? Yeah, so something like that where you go, if I could find one place with them, take this and put it all into this one place for me. At least that will help you maybe in a quicker way try and automate that collection of the photos so that then when they're in one place, then you can really focus on what you want to do, which is the organizing and the finding of the photos.
Actually, you can type it on the photo of Jen at the beach, which Sam is manually going to
I want that too. But yeah, well done, well done. Ask with confidence. If you're going to ask for money, ask for it. Don't apologize for asking for it. Yeah, that's my last bit. Thank you.
Okay, we're just going to take a quick 30-second break. So anyone who wants to grab a drink quickly and stretch their legs, go to the bathroom, literally 30 seconds. Your team switch. Team switch. Right.
Use this.
Trial by complete
That's a little bit.
or like a actually after the series. So I have 5 minutes of this. It's a strange thing. Yeah, completely. That is a skill set that I don't know well with I think it applies for so we can like this and
Well, that's the one. Maybe there's winning the judges think the most creative, but then you look at the one person. So this is what I was looking at.
Just say we forgot to bring some up.
Store pods? Which is not. Oh, apparently it's not worth it. Apparently it's not worth it. That's no.
Go take this.
So this, I don't know how.
About 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Essentially, it just takes that so it makes it easier to do. So the thing about this is that's it. The issue we've got is that we have no long working. So we have to surely we can, but the issue is we're taking this model taking that to wow, digital language. So say if you use one text. Yeah, so taking it from
It feels like so much camera.
for today's champagne. Alright, fantastic. Everyone up and ready? Everyone alive? Everyone ready? Fantastic. Alright, so next up we have Team EEG.
Hi, I'm Elise, and I'm here to introduce you to Empower EEG. This involves a disease called narcolepsy, which is a chronic neurological disorder where sufferers can suffer from debilitating symptoms such as falling asleep during the day, inopportune, and sometimes dangerous times. The problem is that there are currently no products on the market that can monitor and visualize brain function and sleep patterns, which could help them improve their quality of life by changing their behavior and medication terms. Our solution is to empower people by providing live access to their brain function so that they can interpret and monitor their EEG data. Why? Because brain waves are as important to narcoleptics as blood glucose levels are to diabetics. So our target users are people who suffer from narcolepsy, as well as carers and loved ones who are genuinely interested in assisting them. So, current EEG devices pump out incredibly complex data that can only be interpreted by sleep clinicians. People that need to go to sleep clinics and hospitals in order to get grasp of their data. And it's often cumbersome, lengthy, and uncomfortable for the patient. So our product, we provide a portable, accurate, comfortable device that can be used at all times. And we would provide a visualization of that data for the user through both smartphone and smartwatch. This would allow them to see the last 24 hours of their brainwaves across any period of time or any day of the week they wish to see, and compare that to real-time brain function. It would be divided into stages of both sleep and awake, and most importantly, narcoleptics need to see how many times during the day they go in and out of brain. So this is a big opportunity because narcolepsy currently has no cure. It affects 3 million people worldwide. But more importantly, there's a $32 billion estimated loss in well-being or healthcare capital. And so there's a potential for this to be scaled to a much broader market of sleep disorders, elite athletes, and other people that are interested in biofeedback. Our moneymaker, we would directly sell this device just like Fitbit. We would provide storage for user data. And we would also potentially provide personalized reports from sleep clinicians. So our journey is, we developed an extensive disease research report based on my master's degree, and then from there, a phenotype, which you guys just tried on. We've gone through some market and Google AdWords research and developed a landing page. At the time of putting this video together with pending analytics, but actually in the last 2 hours, it already had 14 clicks on the site. So our next steps would be further build on our market and user research, develop our prototype, continue testing, continue iterating. We would need $700,000 to get this off the ground. That would include the developers, marketing, the administration, and legal advice. We hope to receive $200,000 back through government-funded grants, specifically targeting medical research. Our team of amazing women who have helped me put this presentation together are all currently sitting in the front row. I asked them to come to the stage. Why is it so important? Because it's going to be first to market. It's a portable device that allows you to visualize brain function. Thank you.
I think this is really cool, and I love that you actually made a prototype for us to look at. This is awesome hustle. I'm really interested. So in terms of, so there's two things that I just want some clarification around. So you mentioned, the Fitbit track, which is, personalized monitoring. It's just understanding my own health versus the medical track, which is actually going through more of a rigorous process, I suppose. Are you still able to access funding, for example, through the medical track if you're actually going down the track with the device? This is an excellent question. So it's been done within the last 2 days. Do we go mass market? Do we go medical? Medical market would be, I think, the ultimate goal. So we want to produce something for the individual before we get through the regulation process. But our government funding researcher.
There seems to be a lot of grants for biotechnology. And I looked at all the companies that have got this research, and I think people in that category. And I did some preliminary validation, and it was, I think we can get that. There's probably 3 or 4 different types of grants you can get. New South Wales Innovation, Biotech, and a few others.
Also, we can do both. Essentially, that.
If we are going down long-term the medical route, it's a longer process. And in the meantime, people with narcolepsy can get benefit from this now. So ideally, we can kind of use that funding to create something longer term, but start prototyping, start building it now.
Killer idea. I think it's really focused. It's a clear problem. Staggering, nobody else is doing it in the world. So. To the point you just discussed now, I totally agree that I'd focus on the problem with narcolepsy today, see if you can solve that, build out from there. It's going to be where you validate the product. Really one question for you guys. So, in a sense, what you're doing is giving information to people with narcolepsy. How do you want them to use that information? And if I sort of categorize it into my decision making, as in I know I'm about to fall asleep, or into retrospective improvements, I know how my sleeping patterns looked. How are you thinking about most of the use cases?
So, which is why we provided comparison. So real time provide an ability for them to prevent getting into dangerous situations, and we want to provide a more long-term data analysis so that they can experiment, because most sufferers have different drug cocktails that they themselves figure out when it's best to take, and what kind of behaviour the system.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I've got a friend with narcolepsy, and the thing that really strikes me about her is that she says in 10 years she hasn't felt like she's had a good night's sleep. And every morning she wakes up feeling like she hasn't really got into a deep sleep. It's kind of been a disturbed sleep. And that's a really difficult night to sleep. So if you can provide a product that allows people to have a great sleep, to take less medication effectively, I think there's a very strong value proposition in that.
Great job. Quick question on your prototype that you put together. How far are you actually to making that as something that works? And what does it measure other than, like, what brain function does it actually measure? Or is it intended to go into measure?
EEG data. So there are currently EEG sensors on the market that are fit around the head. We propose something that sort of looking like that, and that's as far as we've gotten with the hardware. From a UX perspective, I'm more interested in the application and the development of how that's going to be communicated to the user. So I would be building that off the current sensors on the market whilst developing some sort of hardware that's more comfortable to use.
Because the follow-up question I had was with, which I think you really answered, is around the EEG data, but what else that can be used for as well, longer term, because I suspect there's more than the market that you're looking at.
Yeah, so a hugely broad market. It can go to any one of the neurological disorders. So epileptic fits would be an incredible market to tap into. Stroke patients. Yeah.
Right. So maybe think about your device. Just keep that in the back of your mind as you're building it out, because whichever one has got the most drug companies and others interested in it right now is going to be the one that's going to probably open some doors for funding for you. is my one thoughts. And the only other thing was I've seen something recently, I can't remember which car manufacturer it was, but they have something designed for people falling asleep at the wheels as some sort of visual recognition. I don't think it falls in the same place, but if you hadn't thought about it, I just wanted to flag it. My article didn't read much. Yeah, really useful. So figuring out how you can maybe partner or tap into something like that with a car manufacturing integration system or something as you build out the platform could be a really good way of doing something that stops people dying. That would be handy. Yeah.
No, well done, great presentation, girls. I think what's exciting as well is the notifications that will come of this, like to loved ones, families, you would rights contact Sarah going, hey, it's up gentle and sleep at the table when she's supposed to be talking to you girls, you know, that's but even beyond that, even providers who don't know how to communicate what's going on when they don't understand that lack of communication. So if there's huge potential for this, then it all comes back to the tech and making sure it can be used in so many different ways, which is really exciting. So congratulations, and I hope are you continuing this post?
It's a major job to get to the
Yes, success. Thank you. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much. That is amazing. The fact that a team went out and created a prototype was awesome. It shows that you got the feedback to Steve Mansfield. He spoke about that yesterday. So, you know, Steve from Google comes in and talks about it, and it's fine. I love it. Okay, next up we have Team Switch.
Hi everyone, my name is Mandy and this is my team of funky people. I've got Winnie, Jen and Raquel, and we are Switch, Globalize Your Network. So we have a room of entrepreneurs here, and precisely that is one aspect of the problem. We're in the same room, we're in the same city. So entrepreneurs want that global network and they want that real connection, that real relationship with global networks. Other entrepreneurs, on the other hand, might be seeking new inspiration, they need to reboot, and they have that desire to explore global startup hubs. And more often than not, entrepreneurs are financially constrained. So what's our solution? We're offering a network switch. Connect, switch, and immerse. So what you're doing is you're connecting with like-minded entrepreneurs in global startup hubs. You agree to host one another in your respective cities, and you share your networks. You have an immersive experience working in their co-working spaces and attending local events. Value proposition. So what you get to achieve out of this platform is you're accessing an established business and social network. You're immersing yourself in a new startup environment completely with very minimal accommodation costs because someone is hosting you. You really get to have that real authentic experience of that local startup hub, and why would you want that? Target users, entrepreneurs, anybody in the startup community, freelancers, digital nomads, remote workers, so people who don't need to work in restricted environments, someone with a bit of adventurous mindset, a growth mindset, a global mindset, and an innate curiosity for a global environment. So this is what our landing page might look like. We've got the search bar there. So we're going to start from location, and from there you can apply your filters, industry, age, gender. You'll be able to browse through a directory of entrepreneurs, and from there you can choose which ones might be of interest to you. You'll be connected to them, social interactions online, know what they're about, know what their environment is about, whether that suits you, and if that's the one you choose, then done, you can switch. So how do we make money? So we're thinking of a freemium revenue model where you can browse through some social profiles. We're not going to give you the contact details directly because that is the value of what we provide. And so it's kind of like we're going to dangle the carrot from you, but not really up to you. And we're going to leverage our partnerships and referral fees related to travel and startup. So any airfares, if we refer them to the airline company, then that's where that comes from. What we'll do next? So we're looking into established partnerships with incubators like Fishburners, Rudy, and any of that, like overseas as well, so that we can connect to those startup communities and really advertise and promote our program, our platform. We're going to gather a lot of signups. Hopefully, if anyone of you guys are interested, please email with us, building that website and that platform. And Jen has 2 weeks leave, so she's no good at that. What are we seeking?
like I said, partners, any interested entrepreneurs, please leave your email. And that's about it.
So I'm already signing up. No, I think this is great, and I love that you guys brought back to the startup community, because the easiest part about this is to test it in a really dense area. So if you can go, hey, 50 startups in this building, who's going to the States next? We need to be there next quarter, or even here in London, or in Tel Aviv, or wherever in the world. There's a great opportunity to do that. So you don't have to go out to find it. They're in one room or building. So I love that. I think it's definitely the best way to go the premium. I think that makes sense to get the traction, but then also leverage to get the real money from all the partners. You might be able to go into a book, build that into as part of the whole process. They're going to have to think about it. So I think it's exciting people to know this. But are you doing it after this hackathon? That's the question.
Yeah.
You better.
Thank you.
Great idea. I love community. That's why I spend so much time down at Fishburners. I think it makes a real difference. One of the things that strikes me as two possible sort of areas to explore for you is one, have a look at some of the startup houses that have happened, that have been advertised on Airbnb and Craigslist and places like that, because there's people that are trying to do something similar and bring people in small communities together. And so you might sort of, that'd be a great learning experience, especially if you go to San Francisco, and there's quite a few down in Palo Alto. Some of them are better than others, so we'll just say that. And the other thing I was thinking of is that, the government's got this real focus right now on building landing pads in certain places around the world. And, it is to kind of solve this problem for Australian entrepreneurs particularly, to help them with business and having a place to land. Thinking about yourselves as the virtual landing pad and thinking about the services and the things that people need when they land in a country. It is a friendly face. It's not just a place to go to work, but it's also that, where do I find coffee? How do I deal with setting up my business in this market? What are the legal implications for this? Who's got a tax advisor? So a lot of that sort of stuff could be done virtually, and it's really easy to sort of build out that database and networks and scrape that data from existing places. And maybe have a chat with the team at Airbnb when you're going around. This seems like a really natural fit with something that they're doing in areas where they might find that they're already, I'm sure they can tell you where they've got all the people staying from startup ecosystems and connecting with them.
Thank you very much for the pitch. There's a lot of reasons why someone may want to switch, and you mentioned a couple, anywhere from there's a market you're trying to penetrate to you're a lost soul looking for inspiration. Have you thought about which particular context you want to focus on of why someone wants to switch overseas?
I think maybe the reason might be because they're considering a move to that hub, that they maybe have an existing business that they want to expand, and they need to kind of test run it, check out the environment, see what else is going on in that hub.
In which case, I'd really focus on that and do that really well. And that fits into what Sally was just saying about creating a digital launching pad, or landing pad in this case. And I think that that's a needed product or a needed service that's very easy to describe as a value prop that you can sell. So I'd be even more focused on that context and on that value proposition.
Great job, guys. I like the idea. I can see from a user perspective why that would be valuable. You don't just want to go land somewhere and go and get a casual desk. You actually want to assume somebody's desk and get the benefit of their network. So even if there's somebody that goes, hey, when you're on my desk, here are the 5 people that you can reach out to. You're not just a stranger, you actually belong in that co-working space. So I really like that, and I was just wondering, have you done any validation work on the flip side, so with the co-working spaces, and how they feel about something like this? For example, as a co-working space, you might want to actually charge people to come in, so you have your regulars paying their monthly fees, plus the additionals coming in paying the 25 a day for a desk or something. So have you done any sort of validation with the co-working spaces to see how they feel?
We would use it.
Also, Murray says yes. All right, Phil. And another thing was just to look at maybe instead of like focusing on conferences, because when there's a big conference, generally the people who are in that city will want to go to that same conference. Maybe look at something like Eventbrite or Meetup or something like that. So to once somebody has given you an indication that they're trying to go to a different location, suggest to them what they should be getting involved in that location. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So probably want to just hit that bell then. We're actually running a fairly long way behind schedule. We're just going to start ringing the bell at 5 minutes, just to...
It's for you.
we just want to make sure that we get the most out of the champagne. That's all. We don't need to get the most. So next up, we have Silver Lining.
Really try.
On all the various carers. I was then in a situation where I had to share that information. In 1 week alone, I shared it with 15 people, and the next week another 10 people. And I think ultimately her information's been shared about 100, 200 times in the course of her care. So what we've decided is that we need a better system. The other ladies have been in the same situation with grandparents or fathers, mothers as well. So we realised there was a bit of a need for that, and we looked at the statistics. There's 3.5 million, 3.4 million people over 65, each with information everywhere at all the various different doctors and also in their care as to what they actually need people to know about their care. 1 in 5 need help with core functions. What we've done while we've been here is we've actually pulled together a little app, which is the face at which people can actually see the information. The lovely Nikki from Fishburners has actually done a better mock-up than this, and we're showing you here. It's on our phone already. And the main aim is that it's a secure platform. We've digitised the care information. It's primarily care information. It's not just data. It's actually around how to care for this person in terms of their interests, their likes, what agitates them, when they need their medication, any other important information such as mood and temperament, so that when the carer, who you may not have met, rocks up at their house or at their daycare facility, which is what I've experienced, they immediately know exactly what's going to confront them and what are the priorities in relation to the care that they have to undertake. And you may never see that carer again, you may never meet them, but you know and you can be reassured that actually they have the right information to assist that person. It has shared access to enable you to actually release that information to the carers and to the people that actually need it, actually need a doctor or a visitor. The target users initially, I mean there's a lot of target users, but what we want to target is the children of elderly parents, similar to me, in my 40s, I've got an elderly mother, I need to actually, I don't have the time, I gave up my job for 2 years, I lost a couple of $100,000 in salary, time poor, and you have to be financially sound to do this. The other agencies, there's a lot of other agencies potentially where they'll be spin off into because on scale they'll need to actually access this information. In terms of revenue, we've got annual subscription model purely for them to access the info. We've had already some feedback. We've had it out on Facebook last night. It's been 120 views, and we've had today up until now we put it on a website and we've already had 40 views. It's quite interesting. What's next is we've got the sort of prototype. We now actually want to put a prototype out there and put it out and split with revenue or a price on it. what we're seeking, we've only just written technical development skills, but looking for everyone else, I actually think a mentor would be really good for this and for marketing, because I think they're the three things that we need. And this is a lovely team, so Courtney and Sarah.
Well done, guys. And I think it's an interesting vertical because there's a lot of focus on aged care within healthcare. And I think it's going to be growing over the next couple of years. So I think it's an interesting time for you to actually get started and fire something up around this. My question was a little bit around that feedback loop. So obviously me as the child of the elderly parent would perhaps be responsible for creating all the information or curating all of that, sitting on the app. Is there anybody who's responsible for updating that or providing the feedback loop? Because that might down the track influence sort of the, like from a regulatory perspective, what you need to look at or not.
Absolutely. So in terms of feedback from the carer during the day, we'd like them to actually provide that information back into that database. So what I undertook with my own mum was that I actually asked the carer to send data reports to me as to how she was, what did she actually do, what movement did she see, the mood that she was in, whether there was anything that I need to know so when I got home from work, how to actually handle that situation. And that was amazing because that then got shared with my other cat siblings, and we were able to feel comfort before we went to bed that night that she's been cared for appropriately. And that, to be honest, has been on the carer to be transparent.
Thank you. The second collects that I think it's a very strong problem to focus on. I mean, we have an aging population, but it's also a moment of huge frustration for carers when you have to repeat instructions and information, as you said, 100, 200 times to different health professionals. So I think you're really solving a real pain point that exists. My question is around e-health. This idea starts getting close to e-health in the sense you're putting together a dossier, you're wanting it to be shared and read by lots of health professionals. As a nation, we just don't seem to be making progress on e-health. What are some of the blockers in that case that may be applicable for you and you want to avoid in the future?
I definitely want to sit aside. I'd rather be a disruptor in the aged care than actually try and dovetail off the existing aged care data. So for me, it's not get caught up in those aged care systems that have their own data files and don't talk to each other. So one of the blockers may be the fact that medical may not use it, so the doctors may not. The intention is actually for the carers, the day-to-day in-home caring population, which is actually where we're moving towards in terms of the ageing population, reducing the number of nursing home permits that are being given out is happening at the moment. So they're encouraging people to stay at home and be independent. So for us, we want to just focus on that area.
Love the idea. I think it's critically important not just for us, but it's a global issue. And there's many other countries, our near and close Asian neighbours who would be very interested in solutions like this, because it's a challenge that we're all facing about how to keep people in homes longer and healthy and happy as possible. I think the biggest challenge that we've all kind of alluded to so far is the compliance and regulatory aspect of this. And you're going to struggle that fine line of, is it a health app, in which case you're going to have to meet a lot of regulatory compliance and sort of storage and data storage and privacy, and it's a challenge, but if you're going to go down that route, go down that route. Otherwise, you're going to have a limited scope because it's a personalised service that falls into that sort of fitness space. So have a think about it, and you might be able to start with the fitness side of it first, or kind of that personal health management tool, not device. But that regulatory one, you're going to definitely want to get some people on board, both from a technical perspective, but also from a legal and governance perspective around that, because there's two challenges there, and one is technical and the other one is the legal side of it. But good luck, because I love it. She's going to start.
Made it. Girls love it. I think you did really well. I love that you really fine-tuned the concept from when you first spoke. It was, we're going to take over the world, and we're going to do these 37,000 things, so this is how we're going to execute it. It was great. I love the idea of starting from the ground floor up, because I think that will give you a lot of learning to figure out at the end of the day what people want, what the manager is suggesting. Also, I'm going to introduce you to Alice, which is one of the largest food aged care providers in Australia. We've asked me to get in the caregivers and the actual personal people across the remote. Right, thanks.
Good job, team.
Okay,
Good
so
job.
next up we've got Smart Sport. Big round of applause.
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm Jared. And we're Smart Sport. So we want to provide low cost but quality assured outsourcing for busy entrepreneurs. So here we have Sophia. She is an Australian entrepreneur. She is busy, time poor, finds Australian wages too expensive, and doesn't get the results that she requires from other freelancing websites such as Upwork. We also have our Indian consultant, Priya. She's tired of doing repetitive tasks at her multinational outsourcing center. She receives lack of training, guidance, miscommunication that results in poor quality work.
Solution? Right now, entrepreneurs are finding it hard to find quality, affordable consultancy. Meanwhile, in India, there's a glut of consultants keen to provide consultancy services to Australians, but missing out on the training and guidance to improve the quality of their work. Our platform will connect entrepreneurs in Australia with experienced senior consultants in India. Our senior consultants will delegate tasks to junior consultants and check the work before submitting to customers. This ensures high quality output. This is a model widely used in professional service firms such as legal and accounting. We're taking these tried and tested methods and applying it to a wider field to offer our everyday Australian customers quality assurance and offer our Indian consultants opportunities to achieve their best work. What differentiates us is that we're interested in looking after both sides of the equation to optimize and create shared value for both.
So how are we going to make money? Customers pay an hourly rate for the use of these consultancy services, and we take a cut of the payment. So what have we done so far? We've spoken to a number of entrepreneurs like yourselves, and we've heard you. You're time poor, busy, and you need cost-effective help. But you're sick of low-quality freelance services from Upwork and freelancer.com. And we've also spoken to some Indian consultants who work in multinational outsource centers, and they feel that they're not getting the right support to do their best work. In fact, we have an Indian consultant who's ready to do work for you now, and you can purchase our services from our webpage, which has disappeared. So what's the next step first? We're going to share our webpage on like-minded pictures thinking live. If you need help, buy our service and we'll pilot the program on you. And yeah, so the next step for us beyond that is to market and find out.
Great work, ladies. So as a business model, have you thought about existing this with a ticket for way through, or is it supposed to the product for a job, or what does that look like?
So when the Indian consultant does the task, they record how much time they spend on it, and so junior consultant might be like $3 an hour, random number, and a senior consultant might be $6 an hour. And so they record how much time they spend on it, and then we take that off the balance of the customer. So if they paid for 10 hours, then they might lose 5 hours off one job. And we pay the consultant, but we keep the difference. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. And have you looked at models like Freelancer and Upwork and things like that, how they could easily achieve the same result?
Well, we found that Freelancer and Upwork were very decentralized, so they were just a platform. People anywhere in the world could post themselves up as a worker, and anyone else could post a job. But we want to have a bit more structure because we found that when it's just a random freelancer doing work and sending it back, oftentimes it's not quality checked. And so we want to implement a model like in a law firm where you approach the partner and say, I want this done, and the partner gets his staff to do the work, and then he just does a high-level review before he sends it back to the client. So we want to have a bit of structure where we have more senior people looking after junior people
in terms of that side of doing the work. We think that's how we differentiate.
So just based on that, then I'm going to go somewhere different. If you think about how a legal firm works in accounting services or a big five sort of thing, you have a one-to-one relationship with that consultant or that senior partner, which I imagine in the case of you really targeting Australian entrepreneurs first, may be somebody here who's overseeing that work and that quality control. So I would actually challenge the business model on how to think about, is there a better way that you can think about sort of a subscription sort of model that has a baseline, so you have that one consultant who's your person you go to, they might have 10 other people as well, but you can then charge an hourly billable on top of that or something like that. Just for consistency, because if you're going to be different to Freelancer or, to Upwork on the other side, you do have to really market something very different to that, because there's so many two-sided marketplaces in this space. And the other thing I was going to say is on both sides, it's not just an Australian problem. So think about globally, entrepreneurs globally, and also think about skilled labour that you have that are losing full-time work. So seniors that are at home, people that are leaving full-time employment, that may be somebody that's not in India who could be somewhere in your business.
So Mitch, what would be the main services you expect entrepreneurs to be engaging with?
So I guess basic maintenance work on like Excel, like data entry, data sorting, data visualization using Tableau, BI, like documents production, anything that's simple and easy to instruct someone else to do it, but just takes a lot of time. We have been like thinking about like tech and those more technical things that people also need support for, but I think at the starting point, the like basic skills are what we were thinking of.
Right, so I guess some of your main competitors are going to be BPOs, business processing offices in India and other countries. How will you differentiate yourself against them?
We're not familiar with BPOs.
So I'll just give you an example. So typically a firm like a law firm or PricewaterhouseCoopers will have an offshore outsourced organisation that do the admin data tasking.
So we think that the big end of town, like PwC, Deloitte, have the capacity and need to set up their own outsource centre and hire full-time staff, but we want to tap into the small to medium business market where they don't need a full-time outsource worker or centre at all, and they just want it ad hoc.
So I'd encourage you to do some more competitive research, because I think you'll find there's a suite of agencies doing this kind of work already. You want to find a point of differentiation.
Yeah, well done. Just one last quick point. I find oftentimes that what stops entrepreneurs from engaging with an outsourcing platform or something is that they don't know how to start and they don't know how to describe the task to the point where it's really clear for the person executing it what they're looking for. So actually having to take everything that's in their brain and write that process down on the paper and then trying to present that to somebody. So if you maybe consider if that might be one of the points of difference, if you can really make that process so consistent and so quick that the quality of instruction to someone helps you improve the quality of the work that gets delivered.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll just take a quick stretch, everyone. Up, stretch. We've got some amazing food. Who thought the food was great this weekend? Let's give a huge round of applause to Maddie. She's the one who does a great job on the food. So big stretch. We've only got a few more pictures to get through, and then Maddie's brought us some more wonderful food. We'll sort of a few more drinks, and then we'll kick back into things. So feel free to stretch your legs, and we'll get the next team up. Which is Weekend Trippers. Oh yeah, it's true. Jackie from Craft Fresh Fruit as well. That was amazing. I was sitting there down yesterday morning and this morning, and I was looking at those just water, like almost as much as the fire station, like beautiful fresh fruit.
You're getting dinged.
Right. Next. Okay, so Weekend Trippers.
the bell? It's got some attitude.
Hello everyone.
It's my bell.
It's a bit more upsetting. So who here feels a bit overworked? Who really needs a holiday? Good. So enter Team Weekend Trippers. We are here to make your travel planning easier. Just to introduce my team, I'm Richa. I work as a digital marketer in an agency. There's Emily, who works as an investment analyst, and we are both travel enthusiasts. And we have Cynthia and Gloria, who could make it today, unfortunately. So we have identified a problem, and we're going to give you an example of Kate to run through her story. Kate works as a consultant in a stressful 9-to-6 job. She's extremely fun, loving, and outgoing, but struggles with work-life balance. She daydreams about a beautiful, relaxing weekend away, but alas, it often remains a dream as she doesn't find time to plan it. Hence, we have a solution for Kate and people like Kate.
Alan, we've lost the.
Alan, Steve.
Our solution is a travel app which curates unique, done-for-you weekend experiences at the click of a button. So who is our target market? We are looking at working professionals who are time-poor and busy, and in the age group of 20 to 40, who are really seeking an inspiring experience for their weekend getaway. They're quite tech-savvy, they're very flexible in their approach, and they always love trying out different things. So what have we done so far? Basically, we interviewed 20 different people, got feedback from them, and tried to kind of improvise on our model. And we created a prototype and further did a bit more of analysis on two different, very similar but different ideas, and we found it clear winner. We then refined our offering to suit our target market needs, and we're going to take you to the product demo shortly. In terms of next steps, we basically need $25,000 to kind of create a minimum viable product and test it with our early adopters market. Quickly take you to the product demo. Welcome to Weekend Trippers. Basically, sign up as a user, and you also enter your credit card details the first time you join, something similar like Uber. It's an aspirational kind of an app. What do you want your weekend to look like? So we give you different options to choose from, and one element of surprise as well. Surprise me. Obviously, choose your budget, and then depending on your things that you've chosen, we give you an option to look at, and then you can swipe right or left. If you like something, then you can just have a pop-up there, and it gives you more info on it. Basically, includes everything. We plan everything for you, and it's as simple as a click of a button, you book your weekend right away. So in summary, let us take the pain and stress out of your planning and bring you a one-click solution to enjoy an inspiring and rejuvenating weekend.
Love it. I'm a new mum. I don't have time. I want to do things. So this is a really good solution for me. My question is, there's no content on the site. So when you said book a 2-day this or that, that's just then you'll go and search for it, right? Then that person will go and search for it and book everything and come back. There's no actual content. Like you don't have to go and get trips or anything. Okay, great.
All in one.
And then my question was around the target market. So are you focusing on anybody in particular so that you know what you need to specialize in terms of what you can offer them?
Yeah, so we have looked at different people, and the key focus for us is going to be people who are either single who want to go with a friend or couples, because it's really easy to plan it with someone rather than looking at a group of people. But it could be a single person who wants to join a tour as well.
I think as a next step, it would be really interesting for you to do some experiments on who is you can break it down even more granularly and go, oh, it is a single person with this interest from this background at this age with this income that wants to do these things. That will help you really target it and grow a little faster.
Yeah, I also think it's a really strong idea, and I think it's probably a lot of people have. Even just coming up with weekend ideas. Let's do something this weekend. What are we going to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? It happens all the time. It's in my life. So my question for you is around the product experience. I think that the first couple of options you showed them are going to be instrumental as to whether they think it's a valuable service. And it's kind of like Tinder. If you show someone, the first 5 people are ugly or creepy, you lose credit. It's not from experience. So, not from experience. So how are you going to make sure that you're vetting the options you're showing them, whether you're showing them the best possible first couple of options so they really start trusting the product recommendation?
So basically when we offer that slide of your interest, we're trying to gauge what they're interested in. And then the idea was also looking at an algorithm that once you start swiping, you kind of get the person's interest levels, what they're really interested in. There is an alternative as well to plug in with some of the social media platforms, which kind of gives you all that information already from Facebook or Instagram. But again, this is something further down the line that we can refine it and make it really targeted to their needs.
Two other ideas just to throw in the mix there. One is talking about further targeting and just focusing on a more narrow targeted demographic, so you've got a better chance of a match. And the second thing is some pre-testing of packages before they go into the product itself. So you might even throw them out on Facebook, see how people respond to them, and then the ones that are more popular, make it into the app.
Love the idea. It's actually been one discussed around our dinner table recently. So you have 2 potential customers, actually 6, because there were 6 that's there. Couple of things to think about with the validation thing. I would think, having friends that work in the travel industry, it's really hard to build up the volume of experiences and also availability to deliver if it's last minute. So I think you might want to actually think about validating this your dream weekend getaway kind of idea. So think about how you're going to manage that. Are you going to work find a partner, a travel agency, somebody that you hook in with that does all the back-end infrastructure themselves? You only want to service what's available on those dates, and that is a huge challenge. And the other thing was have a look at some of the categories and ideas out there. Have a look at what Red Bull and stuff does. If they're starting to get in, they don't quite actually go to where you're going, but I think some of those experiences, they could be something that aggregates into what you're doing with that, and it's an interesting market to look at.
So the initial idea and the revenue stream was that basically we do partner with some of the aggregator sites. They have too much going on, so this is more of a niche model, and then get a commission out of that. But like you said, long-term plan is to just have your own curated experiences as well.
This is a personal favorite, so we'll be traveling with the table there. With the $25,000 for an MVP, I think that's way too much to figure out what works and what doesn't. I'm a big fan of taking horrific sites together, see if people use it. If they do, you know you've got something. So even think that in a Squarespace or WordPress and just doing experiences that you know are available and using RSS people, I'm sure there's APIs and things like that for all the aggregated providers that you can test things out, see what works, see how people use it on a mobile experience, teach your friends to use it, and then start building and investing in developers and all that sort of stuff, because otherwise you'll spend an arm and a leg on something that nobody wants. So, thank you.
Think about it, not just mobile, because otherwise you're going to have to build multiple solutions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so next up, Team 24. Okay.
Adam, 3 pictures left. 3 pictures left. So.
Tell them.
Okay, so yes, sorry, there's 3 pictures left.
Oh no.
Okay, let's try again. Team 24.
Do you guys ever feel like nowadays when you ask how people are, all they say is busy, busy?
Yes.
But no matter how busy we get, we still like to keep up to date with what's happening in the world. So take my friend Jen, for example. She's a marketing manager for a big finance firm. She never seems to have a moment to herself apart from maybe on her drive to work. She definitely has no time to read, but she really wants to be up to date on the news, her industry, what's happening in Sydney, and maybe even what happened on The Bachelor last night. Jen would like a solution to get all the updates she wants from the same source, with none of the radio chit-chat, none of the extra nonsense she doesn't care about, all whilst driving to the office. Our solution is called Order. It's an app which creates a personalized playlist aggregated from audio content from a variety of publishers. Users create a playlist of the length of their choice, from news, weather, sports, politics, or even as specific as a surf report, stock prices, or opinions on TV shows. Once your playlist is created, it's refreshed daily. All you have to do is open the app and press play. So now for Jen, on her 20-minute commute, she can get all the updates she wants without ever having to change the station.
We know that Jen's problem is not unique. We got out onto the streets, we set up a poll and started speaking to people. We found out that 65% of people dedicate time daily to receiving their news. And 70% of those people get their updates while on their morning commute. We also did quite a bit of market research, competitor research, and we know that there are other apps out there that aggregate podcasts through playlists and also provide auto recommendations. So our point of difference will be that once you set the time that you have available and your content preferences, Auto prioritizes content that is most relevant to you. And notifications will integrate this into your daily routine. So our target customers are time poor and don't want to listen to advertising. As a result, Auto will be a paid subscription model. So what we've done today is actually launch a fake door landing page utilizing the Wizard of Oz approach. By cutting 15 to 20 minutes of content ourselves, we're going to upload that via SoundCloud to share via our social networks. We're also testing our revenue model with a trial subscription. We've actually also already had 7 people sign up to register for the model. In the next phase 1 of 3 to 6 months, we're looking to hire a developer to create the app and test the product. Mentor with contacts in the industry and get publishers on board by condensing and repackaging their content and also launching our social marketing campaign. Once we grow our customers, publishers will be in touch to create customized content for our platform. So what we're asking for is initial investment to develop the app and also for Sanity to help us cover content, publish context, additional mentoring, and also friends. We would like you to sign up to our service. Thank you.
Great work, guys.
I like that.
Great. Have you considered partnerships on how to get scale quickly with listeners? Subscription needs, we're going to call them.
Publishers?
As in partners to get audience quickly, get traction quickly.
Well, we've found that a lot of podcasts actually go to audience partners now. So social media marketing campaigns can be a big driver for this.
So I noticed that you have up on this site, The Economist, SMH, BBC, etc. Not just podcasts then, you're actually looking at general news content as well? Okay,
A lot of those sites do create kind of daily updates, whether it's in video form or whether it's in podcast. So we'd be looking to kind of scrape some of that content and put into an audio format to repackage.
Right. Well, I think you should have a chat to Murray afterwards, who can introduce you to people at News, and I happen to share a building with people at Fairfax. So once you get to a point where you've got something to demonstrate, you should have a chat to both of us, because I think this is a really interesting way of getting news in an audio format. So good job.
I loved your pitch. It was really fun, and I really love this idea. I think it's super strong, and I think that there is a trend of people wanting to listen more and more to different sources and different types of content. Not just driving a car, but if you look at people on the train, everyone's plugged in. So, super strong idea. My question, which is related to salaries, is: have you thought about if there's enough audio content out there to put this product together, or if you're going to have to start producing content yourself?
So I noticed that you do create kind of daily updates, whether it's in podcast. So we'd be looking to kind of scrape some of that content and put into an audio format to repackage. Once we grow our customers, publishers will be in touch to create customized content that is most relevant to you. And notifications will integrate this into your daily routine. So our point of difference will be that once you set the time that you have available and your content preferences, Auto prioritizes content that is most relevant to you. And as a result, Auto will be a paid subscription model.
Great.
Yeah, so this was a question that took a lot of time actually. We looked at a lot of different sources and found that there's enough audio content out there that's under 20 minutes to create an minimal available product. And then we'd be looking to get people to create things especially for the app.
Cool. This is an idea that I'd love to put some of my time and help into. So if you're looking for a mentorship, I'd definitely be willing to jump in there with you guys.
I told you yesterday, shut up and take my money. I really like the idea, and I'll reiterate that fact, and what we talked about yesterday was around that, around the content. So the thing that makes this really powerful for me and really interesting is the fact that I can specify the length in which I want to consume, and then you will prioritize things. If I want to consume the entire spectrum of things I'm interested in, then I like almost like the Cliff's Notes of all of them, rather than just the first one, because that's the only thing I have time for. And I think that's really powerful. And to do that, you have to demonstrate that you can take that range of content and condense it down into digestible, 15-second clips or 30-second clips or something. So that, and I think that comes back on the fundamental in terms of how you will execute this, is whether this will be something that you will have to figure out how to create that content, or whether you can provide something to the content providers in return for them doing it. So what is the value that you get them to do that for you?
When we were going through the product against specifications, we had functionality that users could rank their order of importance of what they wanted to receive. And then if like the spectrum of content that they wanted to consume in that time frame actually went over what we had, we would actually play that up as part of that.
Okay, good first step. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So, expat is up next. Just a lone member of this team, and she's worked incredibly hard all weekend. I'll give you one. Yeah, well done. Thank you. Expat.
Thank you. So, hi everybody. 5 years ago, I was in Paris. I was coming back from the UK. I was spending 6 years working in Paris, and I was looking for a change. What happened is that I was seeking for information for about 6 months, looking everywhere. Friends, online, community, see how the country would be like. And actually, I couldn't know where to go based on that information, although it was really important. It's not a heavy decision when you decide to leave your family, your friends, your work, and your country. So, thank you. So that's where I was. And what I discovered is that I was not the only one. So just to give you an idea, in Australia, there's about 700,000 new migrants entering the workforce per year. Sorry. And the next slide. And that represents more than 28 million highly skilled migrants all over the world, doing the same thing I was doing 5 years ago. And after so much research, I was still getting things wrong, and now I'm still learning about the process. So what I would like to bring to the work is that solution. So providing a platform where you can grow the country of choice depending on your skill set, who you are, what you can do for a living, and especially your nationality, how easy it will be to migrate and relocate in the long term. So the second thing is have expert information. You have over thousands and actually hundreds of thousands sources of information online from experts from everywhere in the world. Imagine how much time you would spend just scrolling for one destination of choice. The third thing is to provide a guideline or a flowchart of what are the steps you need to consider once you want to leave your country to immigrate and find a new home for a long-term setting overseas. And lastly, I would like to create that community of internationals available in one and reachable in one single platform to share experiences and best practices to avoid repeating all over again the same mistakes people have done before you. So the way I would like to, next slide, thank you. So the way I would like to create it is having a really easy keyword access. So providing your personal information, kind of your gender, your age, your nationality, if you're considering relocation alone or with family and kids, who you are, a professional, how you're educated, how many years of experience, the job you'll be looking for in the new location of choice, and finally, also your nationality. I would explain the immigration information. And finally, to see what you expect in that place. You want to live in a city, you want to live remotely, you want to have a good weather, all that kind of information would be provided through the Grow search. So yeah, that should be that's that. Sorry. And so in terms of competition, actually it's anywhere and nowhere, because it's so spread through online and through your friends and experiences. That's where I would like to have that in a single platform. In terms of customer validation, what I found is like I have to the next one. Yeah, I will have 3 customer segments. So first is the migrants who is looking for that information in one single place. Then you have the third-party businesses, so the experts in the relocation process. And what I've understood from my customer validation market research is that employers and recruiters are always seeking that information, because one of the failures in relocating your own staff is actually that cultural fit, and see if they will be happy in that destination, regardless of the relocation pain and the job, because that's handled by the recruiter. So the next step. What I've done so far, so obviously really extensive market research, also validating all the data, all my assumptions, and actually I realized how many we were worldwide, and I'm sure there's plenty of people here in the room who struggled coming to Australia or even trying to consider moving overseas. And what I think so far is with that online survey, and the next step would be to have a landing page to actually validate and see who else will be willing to get more information about this. So yeah, and so what I'm seeking, so as you can notice, I'm on my own. I've been working on this mostly on my own for the last couple of months, and really intensely this weekend. I wouldn't have been so far without the mentorship that was available tonight, and that's really what I'm seeking for the next step. So to have mentorship contacts, partners, just to see how I can make it grow and definitely go into the right direction, because there's a lot of pain to be relieved in this work. So,
thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Elaine. I'm a big fan of the flowchart to tell you, what to do step by step by step. And obviously, when you talk about all the different countries in the world, for all the different people and all the different professions, you're starting to look at a very large set of different kinds of flowcharts. So where are you going to get that information? How are you going to keep that up to date?
So there's actually where I would need really genius in crawling that up online, because that information is actually already there. It's just really hard to actually identify where it is. And so the main sources of information will be official ones. So the numbers that I found was actually from immigration websites, Australian Bureau of Statistics, OECD, OECD numbers in terms of migration, and what I've done, and there's a couple, there's tons of websites also showing the easy access on the visa and passport base. So the idea will be to have that scrolling from the other websites, and that's where I'm actually struggling at the moment to get that. But on the other aspect, what I would like to provide is also input from the community, because that's where the cultural fit will be really hard to identify, and without personal experience, it will be hard to share. So that would be 2 really line of information. The official one that is online with Numbeo. Numbeo can also bring a lot of information on the cost of living to give you an idea on how much you should earn as well. And have the community growing on their own and really supported, because the value I want in this is really trust. It's what you need the most is the trust in the information you find.
I had the same question actually. The first time, but I'll ask you a different one, which is have you thought about if you like some kind of job posting integration where you can say you're an expat, here are different employment opportunities around the world?
Yes, definitely that would be the next step. I've actually started with that idea initially. What I found was a lot of shut doors from the recruitment sector because recruiters are actually not interested in the hard work of relocating migrants and having to go through the visa process. So my idea is really to address the employers, so the decision makers in the hiring process, to get the advantage of accessing the database of those skilled workers that already could indicate a wish list about I'm here, but I would love to go there, and maybe the next step is actually to have that job coming through. So definitely that's in the pipeline.
So I really admire your commitment to pursuing this, particularly that you've been, doing this with solo entrepreneur this weekend. So good on you for that. My one piece of advice would be to really just focus on one thing first, because what you're pitching up there is very complex and very big, and I think you're going to find it hard to get traction with employers or others until you just solve one pain point. So maybe go away and have a think about it. This isn't a question right now, but go away and have a think about it. Think about what is the biggest pain point that I'm trying to solve here, and just do that one thing first. And a suggestion of doing something that you can do already, which I think you could very easily build out a very quick and free to almost free website where you can source information from expats who've moved around the world on their experiences to countries and take that to countries. That's just going to be a way of validating and actually building up something that you've then got to actually build some of the ideas that you've got on top of it. But try and narrow it down to that one thing first and then go from there.
Thank you.
Congratulations. What was fantastic that we literally walked into the room on Friday night and went, this is what I'm doing. It was great. It was great to see somebody so confident and actually follow through. It's really exciting. So I agree with the sentiment from the table, find something niche, execute small, test, fail, learn, moving from there to figure out building out Facebook.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So our final team, Double Trouble.
Alan said it's food after.
Okay, so after this we're going into food and a few more drinks. So
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Stephanie. I'm going to like mine with Shitty Wine. I'm also the leader of Team Double and the product is called Shitty. The team very quickly is myself, Bridget, Jackie and Liana, very different backgrounds, and all very, very helpful with my idea. I'd like to start with a very sad story about a European toilet. Beautiful. And one day it started leaking. So we called Steve, the plumber. And Steve showed up and couldn't tell me how much it was to fix, because he didn't have the parts, he couldn't find the price, and he didn't know where to buy it. So Steve went away, and I never heard from him again. So my idea is to give Steve the pricing on his smartphone, so he could give me the price instantly, and I could book it in, and he would know where to buy it, and he would come back and fix my toilet. And that's the solution we are proposing for tradies who have to deal with European toilets. Or anything that's unusual and outside what they do every day. So far in our validation, we spent a good number of hours at the nearest funding yesterday, and we spoke to a great deal of tradies. We spoke to 5 consumer groups, and we spoke to the people at the trade desk at Bunnings, and also over the phone with some people at Mighty Tea. What we have validated is that for the tradies, this is a big pain point when they can't find something that's unusual and they can't quote. And they go away intending to quote and forget about it and never get there. And for the consumers, it's the same problem as I have, where the never hear from the guy again because he's disappeared or he's gotten to do other jobs. So we're going to target the suppliers because they're the ones with the prices. We're going to go after the business who they'll give us their pricing in that. And our first approach would be to go after the independent local hardware stores, machinery hire suppliers, and people with something unusual to offer the traders that they wouldn't know off the top of their head. Our monetization initially is going to be revenue and subscriptions from the suppliers. There are a lot of other streams that we can explore later, but we'll start there. And next up is prototyping a fake door landing page and explain the video, and we'll do the analytics to see which one brings us the best targeted traders coming in. And what we are seeking at this point is introductions into the hardware industry, the hardware supply chain, because I would like to get Costa onto the smartphone of every single Steve out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. What I really love about Costa is just how methodical you are in actually going through the process. So huge kudos to actually going in and really mapping out exactly the next steps as to where you are. Well done. My question was around what percentage of jobs are actually considered unusual by tradies? Like what, and are there particular similarities that you see that will cluster them that you can actually find with better?
That's a good question. I'm not going to go on the research this weekend because we didn't ask people that. I'm not the biggest research I've done because I've been looking at this idea for a while. About 25% of the stuff that they get asked to quote for, they can't quote for off the top of their heads. The percentage though is a reflection of the number of jobs. It's not a reflection of the value of the jobs. The value of the jobs is much higher than the stuff they do every day. So there's a definite money value there for them.
Sorry to hear about your toilet. Thank you. It's a really good story to tell. Positions the idea very neatly. My question: How are you going to source live data? Because I mean, the product to work with needs to be live.
The short answer is I'm going to make the supplies until someone gives it to me.
So I'll give you an alternate idea. Which is a different way to do monetization would be rather than a subscription model, an affiliate model, where if the supplier provides you with the data for the price, they get exactly, and it will incentivize them to provide you with the data.
We did look at that as one of the alternatives, and it's not the list, it's kind of sitting there as an option. Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Good job as somebody doing renos. I think my builder understands your pain right now because I find everything for him online and tell him where he wants from. So a couple of suggestions on that. Maybe think about to get to your MVP, thinking about one particular trade. So focusing on either electricians or plumbers and really go hard after that. And also I would suggest in a demographic area in Sydney, focus on, either the inner west or eastern suburbs or something like that, because what they're buying, I've got friends that are tradies, so what they're buying in those suburbs is very vastly different, and they're typically buying from 2 to 3 suppliers within an area. Yeah, and the third person that I would go talk to and hit up, and Fishburners team can help you here, is Annie at Connex at Fishburners. If you haven't spoken to her yet and don't know who she is, find her, talk to her. She has tradies on tap.
That's fine.
Cool, thank you very much.
Thanks. Can I get a huge round of applause for our very last picture? Well, we have reached that point. Can I get everyone in the audience besides you beautiful judges to stand up? We're going to give a huge round of applause to the Fishburners that have made this possible, the mentors, the judges.
Now, I'm going to talk to Chloe, we always do, so I know what's going on. Who's here? Sit down, that's okay.
Who here has learned something new this weekend? Good. Who here has heard of a product or a startup that they're now going to look forward to use in the future? Nice work. And who, more importantly, is going to start a startup or continue their startup post this weekend? Success! Thank you. Now, even more excitingly, to help you on your way, Fishburners has very kindly donated to you guys 1 month's access to the building to get your startup started. So a huge thank you to these guys. So now you know it's good because if Marty can come get you, I'm going to come get you, okay? And Sally is, I don't know. She's serious. So guys, there is food coming, so there's a lot of time to connect, network. Make sure you follow up every promise and then Judge David Sydney. Yes, seriously, up and down, do what you gotta do. Hustle. But please stick around for some food. Thank you again, everyone, for making this happen. A big round of applause to all of you. Oh, sorry. The lady who's been here all weekend and is probably the busiest in the room, Miss Jen George, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everyone join us.
Food and drinks, guys. Thank you. Right. Everybody else.
I mean, I was even checking this time, like, yeah, we went late, and it was because we started really late. It's on. If we actually
Oh, Princess. Someone will.